There's a saying, do it for the vine. Well, Vine is dead, but the sentiment, it's alive and well on YouTube. The relentless, desperate chase for clicks, for subscribers, for that fleeting moment of viral fame. It pushes people to do some truly wild things. Some are hilarious, some are brilliant, but some are just plain stupid. And for a handful of creators, that desperate need to capture the perfect, most shocking, most unbelievable moment for their audience was the last thing they ever did. They weren't just filming content, they were filming their own demise. From a frozen lake in Norway to a backyard in Minnesota, these are the stories of YouTubers who died for a video. This is stupid Karen YouTubers who died. Case 1. Tor Eckhoff. If you spend any time on the weirder side of YouTube, you probably knew Tor Eckhoff, better known as Aptor. 57-year-old Norwegian factory worker who became an internet legend for being unapologetically bizarrely himself. His videos were a strange cocktail of beautiful Norwegian nature, heavy machinery, near-total nudity, and a whole lot of vodka. He'd skate on dangerously thin ice, swim in near-freezing water, and generally treat the deadly cold of a Scandinavian winter like it was a mild inconvenience. His videos were hypnotic. No dialogue, just the crunch of snow, the scrape of skates, and the occasional grunt of satisfaction as he downed another shot of Viking Fjord. He had millions of fans who loved him for his fearless, almost superhuman ability to withstand the cold. He was the king of winter, a real-life Iceman. On November 26, 2021, just days after uploading a video titled, "No Joke, I Am Not Dead, I Am 57 Today," Tor went out to do what he always did, make another video. He drove to Jakobsdam, a pond near Kongsberg, alone. The plan was simple: cut a hole in the ice, take a dip, maybe have a drink. Standard Aptor stuff, but the ice wasn't ready. It was thin, treacherously so. For anyone else, it would be a clear warning. For Peter, it was just part of the show. He had done this 100 times before. He was the master of the cold, the man who couldn't be frozen. He set up his camera and stepped out onto the ice. This is where the story, usually captured for his millions of fans, goes dark. There's no footage of the moment itself, only the horrifying aftermath pieced together by investigators. He fell through. The shock of the freezing water, a sensation he had courted for years, finally betrayed him. The human body can only take so much. The cold water shock response is involuntary. A massive gasp for air, hyperventilation, a rapid spike in heart rate. Even for a man as conditioned as Tor, it's a killer. He was alone, submerged in the black, icy water, disoriented, fighting for a life he had so casually gambled with. A witness heard his screams and called for help, but by the time divers pulled him from the water, it was too late. The man who made a living laughing in the face of winter had been silenced by it. The irony was brutal. The very thing that made him famous, his dance with the deadly cold, was the thing that killed him. His final video, a celebration of life, became an unintentional and deeply tragic farewell. Case 2. Pedro Ruiz and Mona Lisa Perez. From the cold, silent lakes of Norway, we go to a hot, humid summer day in Minnesota. Meet Pedro Ruiz III and Mona Lisa Perez, a young couple, parents to a 3-year-old with another on the way, trying to make it big on YouTube. Their channel was filled with the usual stuff: pranks, challenges, glimpses into their family life. It was sweet, if a little unremarkable. But Pedro had bigger dreams. He wanted to be a star, and he knew that in the crowded world of YouTube, you have to do something big to get noticed. He wanted to go viral, and he had an idea. A stupid, reckless, fatally flawed idea. The plan was to test a myth. Could a thick book stop a bullet? Pedro had seen it in movies, maybe read it somewhere online. He was convinced it would work, and he wasn't going to use some small-caliber pistol. No, for maximum viral potential, he chose one of the most powerful handguns in the world, a .50 caliber Desert Eagle. The stunt was simple. Mona Lisa would fire the gun at a hardcover encyclopedia Pedro was holding against his chest. They would film it, upload it, and watch the views roll in. It would be their ticket to YouTube fame. Mona Lisa was hesitant. She even tweeted about it hours before the stunt. Me and Pedro are probably going to shoot one of the most dangerous videos ever. His idea, not mine." You can feel the doubt in those words. She told relatives she tried to talk him out of it, but Pedro was insistent. He had practiced, he said, by shooting another book, and the bullet didn't go all the way through. He showed her the book as proof. This, he believed, was a foolproof plan. On June 26, 2017, with their 3-year-old daughter watching and 2 cameras rolling, they stood outside their home. Mona Lisa, pregnant with their second child, held the monstrous handgun. Pedro held the book to his chest, a grin on his face, ready for his viral moment. He never got it. The .50 caliber bullet tore through the book as if it were paper. It slammed into Pedro's chest, the force of the impact catastrophic. He collapsed, the cameras capturing every horrifying second. The dream of YouTube stardom died right there on the lawn, replaced by a nightmare of blood and regret. Mona Lisa's frantic 911 call tells the story, "We were doing a YouTube video, and it went wrong." That's the understatement of the century. Pedro was pronounced dead at the scene. Mona Lisa Perez, the 19-year-old mother, was charged with second-degree manslaughter. She pleaded guilty and was sentenced to just 180 days in jail, served in short increments so she could raise her children, the one who watched her father die and the one who would never meet him. The judge called the stunt foolish, but acknowledged that it was Pedro's idea, his relentless pursuit of a dangerous dream. The videos they made were meant to build a future for their family, but one stupid stunt destroyed it all. Coming up, a high-speed chase for 300 kilometers per hour ends in a shattered helmet and a shredded bike. And later, the creator of one of YouTube's biggest channels goes on one final fatal flight. You don't want to miss this. Case 3. Agastya Chauhan. For millions of young people in India, Agastya Chauhan was a hero. Known as Pro Rider 1000, the 22-year-old was a motovlogger with over 1 million subscribers. His currency was speed. His videos were a blur of asphalt and adrenaline, filmed from the helmet of his 1000cc Kawasaki Ninja ZX-10R superbike. He pushed his bike to its limits on public highways, weaving through traffic, his speedometer a testament to his recklessness. His fans loved him for it. He was living the dream, a daredevil on 2 wheels. But his dream was to hit a very specific, very dangerous number, 300 kilometers per hour, about 186 miles per hour. In his final video, he made a promise to his followers. He was on his way to Delhi to participate in a long-distance race, and he told them he was going to try and break the 300 kilometers or each barrier. "I will take it to 300 kilometers and see if it can go beyond that," he said. On May 3, 2023, he set out to do just that in the Yamuna Expressway, a long, straight stretch of highway, perfect for such a run. He was with friends, but they turned back. Agastya kept going, his camera rolling, his eyes on the road and his mind on that magic number. His helmet cam footage, later released by police, is terrifying. You can see the speedometer climbing relentlessly, 250, 270, 290. The world outside is a meaningless blur. The roar of the engine is deafening. He's in a tunnel of pure speed, completely focused on his goal. He hits 294 kilometers per hour. And then it happens. At that velocity, the slightest mistake, the smallest imperfection in the road surface, a tiny twitch of the handlebars, is all it takes. The bike veered. It slammed into the concrete divider. The impact was explosive. The Kawasaki disintegrated. Agastya was thrown from the bike, his helmet shattering into pieces. The force was unimaginable. He died instantly. His friends, who had called him to warn him against the attempt, found the wreckage. The hero of the highway was gone. The police later used his own footage as a warning to others, a graphic illustration of what happens when the thirst for online fame overrides common sense. He got his high-speed run, but the cost was everything. Case 4. Grant Thompson. Not all YouTubers who die for their content are reckless kids chasing cheap thrills. Some are genuine pioneers. Grant Thompson was one of them. As the creator of The King of Random, he built an empire on curiosity. His channel, with over 12 million subscribers, was a playground for science and imagination. He made gummy Legos, built backyard foundries, and turned ordinary objects into extraordinary creations. He was a modern-day Bill Nye, a charismatic and inventive force who encouraged millions to explore the world around them. His brand was all about pushing boundaries, but usually in the name of education and fun. Grant was also an adventurer. He loved exploring the rugged landscapes of Utah, often from the air. Paragliding was a passion, a way to see the world from a different perspective. It fit his brand perfectly, adventurous, a little risky, but always with a sense of wonder. On July 29, 2019, the 38-year-old went out for a solo flight near Sand Hollow State Park. He had a GPS tracker, a common practice for him. He took off, soaring over the remote desert terrain. And then, he vanished. When he didn't return as expected, his family reported him missing. A search was launched using the last known coordinates from his GPS. The search team found what they were dreading: a crashed paraglider and a body. It was Grant. The exact cause of the crash isn't known for certain. He may have hit a patch of turbulent air or experienced an equipment failure. Whatever happened, it sent him into a rapid, uncontrollable descent. Flying alone in a remote area, there was no one to help, no chance of a quick rescue. The very spirit of adventure that defined him, his desire to explore the wild, isolated places, left him vulnerable when things went wrong. The king of random, a man who seemed to have an answer for everything, had met a problem he couldn't solve. His channel continued with new hosts, but the creative, curious heart of the operation was gone, lost in the Utah desert. Still to come, a birthday celebration ends in a fiery wreck and a manslaughter charge. And finally, the mysterious death of a firearms expert in his own gun-filled office. Stay with us. Case 5. Corey LeBarry. Los Angeles is the epicenter of influencer culture, a city where parties, fast cars, and online celebrity are all intertwined. Corey LeBarry was right in the middle of it. The 25-year-old Australian YouTuber was living the dream, with hundreds of thousands of subscribers who followed his vlogs, challenges, and collaborations. He was part of a tight-knit group of influencers, including tattoo artist and Ink Master contestant Daniel Silva. Their lives were a constant stream of content, a performance of the high-energy, party-centric LA lifestyle. On May 10, 2020, it was Corey's 25th birthday. He was celebrating with friends, drinking, and of course, documenting it all for the gram. Later that night, he and Silva got into Silva's McLaren sports car. It was a recipe for disaster, a high-performance vehicle, a driver who had been drinking, and the intoxicating pressure of the influencer scene. Witnesses said Silva was speeding, driving recklessly through the city streets. Corey was in the passenger seat, a willing participant in the late-night joyride. It all came to a screeching halt at the corner of Houston Street and Carpenter Avenue. Silva lost control. The McLaren slammed into a stop sign and a tree. The impact was devastating. Neighbors heard the crash and rushed out to find the crumpled wreck. Both men were pulled from the car and rushed to the hospital. Silva survived. Corey LeBarry, the birthday boy, was pronounced dead. The party was over. The live stream had ended. Daniel Silva was arrested and eventually pleaded no contest to gross vehicular manslaughter. He was sentenced to just 1 year in jail, 5 years of probation, and community service. The sentence was widely criticized as too lenient, but the outcome was irreversible. Corey LeBarry died on his 25th birthday, a passenger in a car driven by his friend, a victim of the same reckless show-off culture that had made him famous. Case 6. Keith Ratliff. Our final case is different. It's not a stunt gone wrong or a reckless act caught on camera. It's a mystery. Keith Ratliff was a man who lived and breathed firearms. In his early 30s, he was a key figure behind the scenes of some of YouTube's biggest gun channels, most notably FPS Russia, a channel famous for its explosive, over-the-top demonstrations of heavy weaponry. While Kyle Myers played the charismatic Russian persona on screen, Keith was the expert, the producer, the man who sourced the weapons and made sure everything worked. His business in Carnesville, Georgia, was a fortress of firearms, a warehouse filled with the tools of his trade. On the evening of January 3, 2013, Keith was last seen alive, working alone at his shop. It was a normal night. He was surrounded by the guns he loved, the inventory for his YouTube empire. The next day, he was found dead. He had been shot. A single, fatal gunshot wound to the head. The man who had built a career on his expertise with firearms had been killed by one. Immediately, speculation ran wild. Was it a robbery gone wrong? An arms deal gone bad? Suicide? The Georgia Bureau of Investigation took over the case. They found a massive collection of weapons at the scene, but no clear answers. The case was shrouded in mystery. His death was officially ruled a homicide, but to this day, no one has been charged. The YouTube community was shocked. Tributes poured in, but they were mixed with questions and conspiracy theories. How could a man so experienced with guns in his own secure workshop end up dead from a gunshot? The irony was thick and unsettling. Keith Ratliff's passion was guns. He used them to build a business, a career, a following of millions. And in the end, in a room full of his own weapons, that passion became the instrument of his death, leaving behind a cold case and a chilling reminder that even for the experts, the line between passion and peril can be fatally thin. From a book that couldn't stop a bullet to a superbike that couldn't handle the speed, the stories are all different, but the theme is the same. The pressure to create content, to go viral, to be seen, can push people to ignore the most basic rules of survival. They're not just chasing likes, they're chasing a ghost, and sometimes they catch it. So the next time you see a video that seems too good, too dangerous to be true, maybe it is. Thanks for watching. If you have a story you think we should cover, let us know in the comments below. And don't forget to subscribe for more stories of when keeping it real goes fatally wrong.